Hey guys, it's Zach. Today, I wanted to talk about an island in Deepwoken that's overflowing in personality and potential for world building, but because of better alternatives to progress and subpar loot, is an area that very few players make their way to for any reason. Of course, I'll be talking about Miner's Landing, what you can do there, and how it can be made into a hotspot for player activity. Before I get started, let me be real for a minute. Making Deepwoken videos while being a college student is tough enough, and when you add on the fact that I'm stuck playing on a laptop with Wi-Fi, playing the game is a rough experience. After all, who wants to get ganked while your ping is spiking? Lucky for me, I got to try Gear Up over the past few weeks, and it's genuinely been a great aid in playing on high ping. For those who don't know, Gear Up is a program that allows you to better your performance and lower your ping on any game. Before Gear Up, I was managing around 130 to 150 ms in my preferred region. Somehow, when I activated Gear Up Boost for Roblox, my ping got brought down to 80 to 110 ms. It made my game at least somewhat playable, which is all I could ask for. It's not just Roblox either. Gear Up has the potential to boost any game you could think of, whether it be on PC or mobile. If you want to try out Gear Up for yourself, take a look at the description and pin comment to this video, where you'll find a link to download the program. Anyways, back to the video. Miner's Landing is an island in Deepwoken that's quite advanced in nature. Home to the Ignition Union, Miner's Landing is a huge mountain that's been carved well into with certain works of metal, and a town spread throughout its surfaces. The architecture here is absolutely beautiful, with union hooks spread across the map to allow for easy vertical movement. If you travel high enough, you'll eventually come across the Sarah Mead Summit. It's a volcanic void zone, one of the few places in the game that causes you to be instantly depsed on death, and the only place in the game where the Mechalodon spawns. The Mechalodon is an awesome variation of the Sharko, with a unique laser and Gatling gun attack. It's one of the coolest mobs in the entire game. With all these awesome places to visit, you might think to yourself, why come nobody wants to ever come here? Well, unless you're there for a specific reason, like upgrading your Iron Sing mantras, obtaining Arc Warder, or getting the Rifle Master Armor, there's no reason for a player to come here instead of Hive. Overall, the loot is worse, there's no mob variation, and the XP you get is pretty similar to Starswept. For an area in the game with so much potential, I wanted to give my ideas on how I think the developers could make this area the hotspot it's meant to be. We all know that the Ignition Union origin is something that's planned for the game, but with the Ignition Union having presence in all three main areas of the game, a trait unlike any other faction, it's up for debate where or how this origin will have you end up playing. In my opinion, it'd be super cool if Miner's Landing was the center of it all. What if inside of Miner's Landing was a huge caving system that the Ignition Union operates for extracting raw materials, as well as providing a bridge of operations between the overworld and Skyphosia? This would fit into the narrative that they have discovered ways to descend and descend through layers with their own methods, allowing the player to traverse through these places. Of course, there would have to be some sort of separate trial the player goes through to ascend, like fighting through a cave filled with monsters to extract resources back to the overworld. Perhaps there could be some sort of ranking system. The more journeys you take into the depths, the further you get promoted in the Ignition Union. This would allow the player to achieve exclusive rewards, only accessible through the Ignition Union origin. Not only would this bring a sense of loyalty to the faction, something that isn't really explored in Deepwoken, but it'd give players a reason to seek out this alternative form of progression that isn't just, it could be slightly faster. What do you guys think? Would this be a cool idea for Miner's Landing, and if not, what would you do to give it some spice? If you stuck around this long, I'm sorry for not being around recently. I went on vacation, but also, Deepwoken content is hard to stay consistent on, especially when you're not trying to be someone who throws out update slop. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good one.